Hey guys, Professor Fat Shady from the University of Trials, and today I'm actually going to be taking sort of a request of sorts. I think, for Wunder Waffle. Now, Luke Kenny, as he's otherwise known as, contacted Ubisoft on Twitter and said the last Trials Fusion challenge I have is impossible. Right now, I'm going to come back and prove that wrong, but he said I've been attempting it for 6 months, the bikes don't work in the fire loops. Now, Ubisoft, the sort of global Ubisoft Twitter channel, calls it out and says, sorry to hear that, but maybe you should have a chat to the Trials Professor Fat Shady live, and maybe he can help you with this. And I start chatting with him, I find out exactly which track he's talking and struggling on, and here we are. So, what I'm going to be doing now is going through. Now, this was surprising. Now, I'll give you a little bit of an intro about Luke. He has actually got every other challenge. So I think it's actually his challenge within the base game, not the DLC, but the base game. So what this means is there's a guy out there right now who's got pipe phobia, who's got top roach, that hasn't done the Wormholin challenge from Observatory, which is in the Greenhorns Grove set of tracks. Now, this is a 400-point challenge, and not to put any, to say anything negative about Luke, but if someone can do top roach and do pipe phobia, dude can get this, right? I'm fully supportive of this, and I'm positive it's going to happen. So, coughing. I'm going to go through and do a tutorial. What I suspect is the problem, I think, is maybe just misunderstanding. So I don't want to be condescending, because this guy is a talented enough rider. So I'm just going to try and show him how to do it, and we'll see what happens. Now, so to trigger it, look, he already knows how to do this stuff, but for everyone watching at home, there's a little flip and a fire thing down here. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the physics of this bike before this happens, and you can pay attention as I ride. What you've got to look for is the bike will naturally just try and lift up a little bit. The front wheel, so if you don't touch it, let me just show you. If I don't touch anything, right, the bike will kind of naturally, so it'll naturally flip backwards. I'll show you that again, because that was a really bad example. Alright, if I just have it like this, and leave it, it naturally flips backwards. Now, so, and I don't know if anyone here played GTA 3 and figured out how to fly the Dodo, and it's weird that I bring this up, but it's so relevant here. To fly the Dodo, the plane would try and lift in a particular direction, and all you had to do, so you didn't have to try and steer it, in as much as you had to just counteract the thing it was trying to do. So the Dodo kept trying to lift up, and you had to just keep pressing forward to keep nudging the nose down, and by manipulating that, by counteracting the natural tendency of the Dodo, you were able to fly this thing, and I could fly it across all 3 islands. What you've got to do here is, because the bike's trying to flip up, you need to just keep tapping forward to keep it going where you want to go. That's the first tip. The second thing is really about just making sure you've memorized the track. There's only about 2 spots where it's a problem. So what I do here, so now I'm going, and I stuffed it. God, these live demos suck. Alright. So now, I'm just going to let the bike lift up, and I'm just tapping forward, tapping forward, tapping forward. The other thing is, too, the least amount of maneuvers possible. Because some of them, you'll see like one there, and even that one there, the fire runs out before... That was too low, right? Yeah, see? And I think this is his problem. I think what's happening, he's getting to that point and thinking that the game is sort of against him, but it's really just a misunderstanding of what you're trying to do. So the key thing, right, so I'm just tapping forward, and I'm really letting the bike take charge. The other thing is, you've got to really utilize the momentum that this thing gives you. So, you see how the boost, now here, I need to be facing up high, and then tap forward, and look at this. Now that's got to suck. If you've got pipe phobia, you got top roach, and you can't do this one, man. You need to get on that one immediately and nail this. Because I'm sure you've got this in you. So I'm going to do this a couple more times and just sort of show what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not paying attention to chat, so I'll get back to that in a second. I am streaming this on Twitch at Uni of Trials, if anyone cares. But the main thing is, you see how if you miss the fire, you don't get the boost. And this is obviously designed, so you have to hit each one of the fire rings. So the key thing for me is, get yourself into the right riding position, find the optimum angle and trajectory to complete the gap, and there is some, like this one here, the burner, oh no, this next one, the burner goes out before I hit the next fire thing. So what you've got to do is be heading in, alright, see that one, you've already got to be heading in the right direction to complete this challenge, and sort of sailing in the right direction before the afterburner is exhausted. And if you manage to do that, even if the fire goes out like there, you can still catch it because you're still heading in the right direction. That's why I talk about trajectory. Now you can sort of adjust it like that if you need to, but the main thing is that when the afterburner goes out, you want to be sort of already pointing in the right direction. And there is that last one, and I suspect this is where Luke's having the trouble. On that last one, there's a pretty small margin for error, and if you don't get the right run up, and this is like with most Trials tracks, if you're trying to sort of clear a big gap, you really need to hit the 2 or 3 jumps and ramps before it to have enough momentum to get you through to the last obstacle. And I think that's the part that perhaps Luke's just sort of missing, is the lengths you've got to go through, the speed you've got to hit, the momentum you've got to carry through, because it's only with that momentum you actually get through. You get through this. So look, I actually don't think there's too much to teach. I just wanted to sort of show a few examples of me doing this. But like I said, the easiest way to do it is point yourself in the right place. And so this is the other tip too. Remember the angle that you need to hit for each of these obstacles. So that one there I stuffed up. So you really need to remember what angle you need to be hitting. For each of those checkpoints. Now, I mean, I don't expect you to be a compass. Is it a compass with all the angles on it? I think it's a compass. I don't expect you to be a sort of a human compass, but you know, you can get a rough feel for it to go, you know what, this is sort of 45, 45, and then you're like, oh no, that one's a steeper angle, that's a steeper angle, and then that one you really can't mess around with, because see, that slightest little adjustment. So and I think, look, without going over the same thing 3 or 4 times, but it's really those last 2 or 3 checkpoints that you kind of just need to hit smooth, and you'll nail this. But the main thing is, you see, I do the absolute minimum. So the runs I do successfully, I do the absolute minimum amount of, and this one I go steeper. There you go. The minimum amount of change of adjustments, just little taps forward, and you'll get it. And yeah, if I could pick why someone who's talented would be struggling at this, it's probably because he's overthinking it and probably just moving the bike too much. And it's funny too, when you go back and have a look at really good Trials riders, like, you know, they're not doing, you know, all of these ones and all this business, because that's just burning all of your momentum. The truly good speedrunners barely touch, like they do the minimum required maneuvers to complete an objective, and nothing more. Whereas the rest of us, you know, we press 17 different buttons. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. I think there are some comments in here. There is one Tyler DM on Eco Park, and I would argue that's harder. So this is the other thing for me that's baffling me about where Luke's struggling with Observatory, is because I thought Eco Park was harder. But anyway, dude, people can have struggles in different things, and if you just sort of miss a concept, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but there's also that situation where you kind of develop this muscle memory, and it's a habit now. So you get to an obstacle, and when you rely on your instinct, you kind of just do the same thing, and you know it's wrong, but it's very difficult to break that. So it might just be the type of thing you might need to just sit back, have a look at what he's doing, minimum inputs, just tap forward and let the bike sort of take you through. Remember very clearly the angles. There's only about 5 or 6 checkpoints here. Remember the angle you need to hit, and I really don't think it'll be too hard for you to nail that last challenge. So I'm going to wrap up the video, but I'm going to keep streaming. So if you ever want to see me streaming, make sure you follow at Uni of Trials on Twitch, and you can have this kind of awesome banter. Thanks for watching. Bye.